A powerful multi-hazard storm system is sweeping into Atlantic Canada beginning this afternoon, poised to deliver a complex mix of heavy rainfall, strong winds, substantial snowfall, and a particularly dangerous freeze-thaw cycle that will challenge communities from New Brunswick to Newfoundland and Labrador. Environment Canada has issued a large number of active weather warnings across all three provinces, underscoring both the severity and wide geographic spread of the system. Across New Brunswick this morning, there are 15 separate alerts in effect. Nova Scotia is facing 31 warnings, the highest count of the three provinces, and Newfoundland and Labrador have 18 active advisories. This storm is not the typical single hazard event. Instead, it combines multiple winter weather hazards that meteorologists recognize as especially treacherous because they can impact travel, infrastructure, and daily life simultaneously. Heavy rain falling on frozen ground and melting snowpack can quickly lead to localized flooding, while rapid temperature swings can create ice hazards that are difficult to predict and respond to in real time. In New Brunswick, the forecast begins this afternoon with a yellow warning for rainfall in much of the southern region. Cities such as Fredericton, St. John, Sussex, Oromocto, and Grand Manan are included in this warning, and rainfall totals between 40 to 60 millimeters are expected, with locally higher amounts possible. Along the Bay of Fundy coastline, including Fundy National Park and coastal Charlotte County, these amounts could be at the upper end of that range. Southerly winds will accompany the rainfall, with gusts reaching up to 70 kilometers per hour, especially in exposed areas. This combination of heavy rain and wind can rapidly reduce visibility, so motorists on the Trans-Canada Highway are being advised to allow extra travel time and to keep headlights on during heavy rain bursts. Environment Canada describes this rain event as having a two-pulse structure, meaning the first surge of rain will arrive this afternoon and continue into early evening, followed by a brief lull overnight. A second pulse is then expected to return through Tuesday afternoon before the storm finally exits later in the day. Because the ground remains frozen from the winter, its ability to absorb rainfall is significantly limited, which increases immediate runoff into low-lying areas and urban catchments and heightens the risk of localized flooding. Residents are urged to clear storm drains and gutters of ice and debris ahead of the event to reduce flood risk around homes and businesses. Further east in Nova Scotia, the forecast is more complex, with the province's 31 active alerts reflecting the wide range of hazards expected. The rain associated with this system will begin over western counties such as Yarmouth, Shelburne, and Digby this afternoon, bringing 30 to 50 millimeters of rainfall through the evening, and will spread eastward overnight into Antigonish, Guysborough, Pictou, and Cape Breton. Winds are expected to gust up to 80 kilometers per hour province-wide, and there is potential for these rainfall warnings to expand as the system evolves. Weather services emphasize that if you are under a special weather statement rather than a full warning, conditions could worsen and upgrades to warnings may follow. In Cape Breton, a separate and particularly serious wind warning has been issued for strong downslope winds known locally as les sweats. These winds develop as southeasterly airflow rises over the highlands of the Cape Breton Plateau and accelerates as it descends the western slopes. And for this event, gusts could reach up to 120 kilometers per hour. Winds of this magnitude are capable of causing property damage and making travel hazardous after dark. So residents in affected coastal communities are being advised to secure loose outdoor objects and avoid unnecessary travel this evening. Newfoundland and Labrador present a number of distinct weather stories all unfolding under the same broad storm regime. In southwestern Newfoundland, rainfall warnings are already active. Communities such as Channel Port aux Basques are under yellow warnings for rainfall expected to total 50 to 70 millimeters. But the most severe advisory in Atlantic Canada today is an orange warning for Burgeo-Ramea, where 50 to 80 millimeters of rain are forecast with locally 100 millimeters or more possible inland. An orange warning reflects a high impact level and high forecast confidence, and Environment Canada specifically warns that localized flooding is likely, and some roads may become impassable. Motorists are reminded never to attempt to drive through flooded roadways and to stay away from fast-moving rivers, creeks, and overflow culverts. Further east, other sections of Newfoundland, including regions around Gander, are also under rainfall warnings that extend through Wednesday morning. In many of these southwestern areas, the precipitation will begin as snow this evening, transition through ice pellets and freezing rain, and then switch to plain rain overnight into Tuesday. That transition will create very hazardous road conditions, and extra caution is urged for anyone traveling overnight. In parts of Channel Port aux Basques, there is also a wind warning in effect for recourse winds, another downslope wind phenomenon along the rugged southwestern coastline, with gusts around 100 kilometers per hour expected tonight that could buffet high-profile vehicles and create dangerous travel conditions. In Labrador, the forecast is equally noteworthy because of the sequence of snowfall, warming, rain, and then rapid refreeze that is expected to unfold over the next 48 hours. Western Labrador communities, including Labrador City, Wabush, Churchill Falls, and Churchill Valley, are under a snowfall warning, with total accumulations of 15 to 25 centimeters expected beginning near noon today and continuing through tonight and into early Tuesday morning. Adjacent areas around Upper Lake Melville and the Eagle River are under a separate yellow snowfall warning with near 15 centimeters expected. Environment Canada warns that during this snowfall, travel will be challenging, with reduced visibility and slippery roads. After the snowfall, temperatures across central Labrador are forecast to rise well above freezing on Tuesday, possibly exceeding 10 degrees Celsius, which will cause rapid melting of snowpack and add significant water to an already saturated surface. In some coastal corridors, such as from Red Bay to L'Anse-aux-Clercs, rain totals of 15 to 25 millimeters are possible during Tuesday. However, the most critical hazard may come later that night when temperatures plunge sharply and any standing water from the melting and rain rapidly refreezes. This sudden freeze presents a serious ice hazard on roads and sidewalks that can persist into Wednesday, complicating cleanup and travel well after the storm has technically passed. Looking at the broader climatological context, winter storms like this are not unusual in Atlantic Canada, but the combination of hazards within a single system, heavy rain on frozen ground, strong winds, snowfall accumulations, and rapid temperature fluctuations can amplify impacts compared to more typical winter weather. Environment Canada's color-coded impact guides lay out how different levels of rain, snow, and ice hazards can disrupt travel, damage infrastructure, or even threaten life and property. They emphasize that even a moderate impact rain event can cause overland flooding and travel delays, while heavy ice accumulation can bring down tree branches and power lines. Snowfall warnings at higher levels indicate conditions where roads become dangerous and travel may be impossible without specialized equipment. Atlantic Canada's long history of winter weather hazards, including past significant floods driven by combined rainfall and snowmelt, highlights how vulnerable the region can be when multiple factors converge. As this system progresses through today and into Tuesday and Wednesday, conditions are expected to gradually improve once the storm clears, with lingering wet and slippery conditions remaining in many areas. Residents and travelers should continue to monitor updates from Environment Canada for their specific location before making any travel decisions. Stay prepared for changing conditions and check the latest official forecasts and warnings, because in situations with rapidly evolving weather, the details can shift even over the course of an afternoon.